Hello, welcome to Chrysalis Invictus Tarot. This is my tarot cabinet series where we go through the various tarot decks that I own, and maybe you are shopping around for a new tarot deck for yourself, or you're looking to gift one and you've been curious about what the different decks have to offer. Or maybe you're like me and you're obsessed with the art and the variety, or you're a collector. And so let's dig in. I'm going to start with this guy here. I don't have a box for it anymore. It's the Animal Totem Tarot. So I got this one it's one that I share with my daughter. So I have to ask her permission. She's 10. She has a tarot collection of her own, so I have to ask her to see if we can take a look at those ones. But so this is the Animal Totem. I really love the images. I love the colors. Obviously, it's a very neutral deck to use. In that it uses animal imagery. What do I want to say about this deck? I'm not sure. I mean, that's an unpleasant looking animal. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, this is my favorite card. I've come to learn that the Ten of Swords is my favorite card in most decks. I don't know. I mean, so again, this is one that she and I share. I don't use it for a lot of my videos. I don't know why. There's no particular reason. I just don't think to use it, I guess. Although I have to say, after doing my last tarot cabinet video, I have started to explore my collection a little bit more and use, did we lose focus? There we go. And use the cards a little bit more. That is a disgusting card. The Hanged Man is a spider, which is really interesting. So yeah, I mean, you can always deepen your readings by, if you know what different animals sort of mean, or if you want to dig into omens and things of that nature. I do really love this Fool card. So, Nine of Cups is beautiful. Temperance. Oh my gosh. The imagery is really, truly beautiful. So I'll just kind of flip through them like that. I'm not big on this Two of Cups. I don't really, yeah. The King of Wands. So there's some interesting interpretations here for sure. If you're looking for an animal deck, it's definitely, oh, this one. I love the Magician. It's definitely worth checking out. So that is the Animal Totem Tarot. What should we do next? I think I'm going to do the Golden Tarot. So this one I actually bought at Marshall's. I worked at Marshall's for several years, and I wasn't really quite sure what I was going to get because it was really cheap. I think I paid $8 for this, and it comes with this book. So I had really low expectations, and I took it to the back room, to the lunchroom, and started to shuffle, and was just blown away at how connected I was to this deck. So this is the back. It's so beautiful. And then it's really simple images. So it's more like a Marseille deck in that the court cards and the arcana are the only ones that have like specific images. This is a really interesting card. I find that one comes up really interesting. So as you can see, there's just the symbols there. But I love the medieval style. Let's see, the Knight, Strength. I love the colors, especially. These are the colors I usually decorate my home in. You know, the kinds of art that I'm attracted to tend to have these colors. So what would I use this deck for? It's a catch-all deck. You definitely want to know the meaning of numbers, I would say, to use a Marseille style deck like this. I guess it's not just Marseille. It's like the Golden Tarot. There's a bunch of them that are... this is the Visconti Sforza. So there's lots of different versions of the Golden Tarot. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that if you don't know, for instance, what a Ten of Swords is, this card is going to be meaningless to you, right? So it's definitely better for, or if you want to learn that way, if you're better at like crash coursing yourself into learning things. Let's just keep moving through so you can see. That's our Judgment card. Yeah, I like this as, I mean, as a supporting deck as well. Like if I'm going to clarify anything. Aside from the Death card, I love this Ace of Cups. Aside from the Death card, I can't think of any. It's a pretty good Tower. I can't think of any that really stick out in my mind in terms of imagery when I'm reading other decks. Like I mentioned, some of the decks that I have, I will like think of that image when I'm reading other tarot, but not really with this one. I think it's just a good supporting figure. So if you're a reader and you want something variance, and for $8, I'm not going to complain. Okay, I'm going to get into the Wildwood Tarot next because this is my first tarot deck. Well, that's a lie. This is the first tarot deck that I worked with. John Matthews is actually a teacher of mine. I've gone to the UK and learned from him, and I find that I have a special connection to his decks. So you'll see more of his decks in Oracle videos, but the Cathar deck is also John Matthews. So the Wildwood Tarot I learned from Brian Froud's Fairies. That's how I originally learned to read tarot, was from the Fairies. I learned that deck first and then learned this deck, and it was many years before I started reading anything else other than this deck. So it's a bit more worn. The imagery is incredible. Like the eight, what does that sound coming out of my mouth? The Eight of Vessels is typically, someone walking away. And this is a rebirth. And like all of this, I probably shouldn't talk too much about this or be here forever. But I just love this deck. I don't really read reversals in this deck because the reversals are in the upright as well with his descriptions and with the imagery. I also have there's an additional book called Wild Magic that goes into more detail about each of the major arcana cards, and I have that as well. So the suits are the bows, the arrows, the vessels, and the stones. And And then the major arcana cards are derived from the Rider-Waite, but there's still variance and difference. I love this Ace of Bows. I don't think I have a favorite card because I love all of them. The court cards are all animals. So there are only people in the major arcana. And that's really interesting when you get into, this is definitely Celtic. And so when you get into the meaning of the different animals in Celtic mythology, it's a really rich read. So this deck is really connected. This card I think of a lot because taking the rainbow over into the Wildwood, it's like this trust, which is really, to me, really symbolizes the spiritual journey. The green woman. I love, love, love this Two of Arrows. It has, it's very rich. Like the blasted oak is meant to be a combination of the Hanged Man and the Tower, which is a really fascinating sort of combination. The Ancestor, Three of Vessels. So this deck can go deeper and deeper, and it does the more I study. This is the snake combination that happens. Where is it? Is it in the Hermit? I don't know. We see it a lot, but I love that it's included there. And the Mirror. So I highly recommend this deck, particularly if you are on a more Celtic path, if you identify with that imagery, the symbolism. And, went crazy here. I'm getting too excited. This is my home deck. Let's put it that way. This is my home deck. This Five of Vessels I love because the Five of Vessels, normally there's the 3 spilled cups and then the 2 behind, but this is like her dancing in the center of a pentagram. Yeah, it's really interesting. Or how their hands are combined. The burning heart of the 3 of arrows is depicted here in the center. Like there's all kinds of really interesting connections. Oh, I have the 2 of Vessels next to the Forest Lovers. Ooh, someone who's watching this, some fun love stuff going on. Love this, the Seer. The World Tree with the labyrinth at the base is incredible. The Green Man. The Guardian. Love that one. 4 of Arrows. The Journey is the Death card, and 6 of Arrows, Transition. I feel like I just did a mini reading while looking at those cards. Someone who's watching this needs a personal reading. Reach out to me. Information down below. All right, so that's the Wildwood Tarot. What do we want to dig into next? I'm feeling we'll do the Barbara Walker Tarot. So if you don't know Barbara Walker, I didn't know Barbara Walker until I kind of obsessively look on eBay for tarot cards in different decks, and this one somehow had eluded me forever. I had never seen it. Barbara Walker is a very interesting feminist figure, but she's also well known in the world of like art and knitting. It's crazy. They're so look into Barbara Walter for sure. I love reading these cards. They have such interesting, again, imagery, but also interesting interpretations of the cards. You can also read them if you are not familiar with tarot as well, because the minor arcana have titles to them. And I mean, if you read tarot, you may disagree with some of the, I don't know what people do. You may disagree with some of the titles for them, but, and then we have mythological, like gods and characters in the court cards. So it's kind of fun. You can look into, like the Wildwood, you have more options. You can look deeper into, I really like this Eight of Wands. It's very, the Tower. The Eight of Wands is typically like fast moving communication, and they have this as like fall, which is really interesting. But yeah, see, like you have Kali, so you could look into that and get a bit more depth from the cards in that way. Judgment. Judgment is always such a weird card. There's the Magician, so that's what's on the 10. And with every deck, like, people are going to interpret different cards in their own way. Like this Four of Swords, I find really, really fascinating. It's called seclusion, but there's just some really interesting symbolism there. The Three of Wands, fate, love that. I especially love the wands in this deck. I feel like this deck is very wand strong, and I would say wands can sometimes be a harder suit for me to understand or to read, and so I really like and appreciate how this deck interprets them. This is not my favorite Ten of Swords, and Ten of Swords is usually my favorite card. Not that one. Three of Cups, Hell, so that's from Norse mythology. Love this Two of Wands. It's a reflection. Just a second. Okay, so Five of Swords, also a really cool card. I love this. It appears to be Thor with the Fates, or the, is it the Valkyries? Anyway, the Fates of Norse mythology. Nine of Cups depicts a coupling, which is also an interesting choice. This Lover's card has the other woman as being the one marrying the man and the woman, which is that's her interpretation of that card. That is so, anyway. So kind of move through the schmoopiest card ever. Death, King of Pentacles. I like Avarice. Such an interesting one. Yeah, so I find that these are really interesting to read. They're fairly gritty and no nonsense, but they balance out, you know, it's like, it's like for your own good, that kind of thing, which I appreciate, and is very, I think the Rider-Waite reads that way, so it has that kind of like true to the Rider-Waite. It's not too soft, and it balances out, and it comes with the little book and in a tin. So there we go. That's the Barbara Walker Tarot. What am I gonna do next? The Cathar Tarot, The Secret Wisdom of the Perfecti. So this is John Matthews and Will Kingan. I think they did, if I'm not mistaken, the Shaman's Oracle together, which I will show you in the Oracle videos. I don't want these videos to be too long, so it comes with this book. The book is really handy, so I'm still sort of reading this deck from the perspective of Rider-Waite, in that, you know, I haven't memorized what all of the cards are about or the history of them, but they're really beautiful and really interesting. And let's see if I can read the back. This magnificent deck offers a unique tarot experience that draws on the ancient wisdom tradition stretching back through the Cathars to the Grail myths and Gnostics. Best-selling tarot expert John Matthews reveals how the universal symbolic language of tarot parallels the Cathar journey of initiation and invites modern seekers to follow the Cathar's path to self-knowledge and spiritual fulfillment. If anyone knows anything about them, please let me know down below. So the suits are wisdom, love, swords, and wisdom, love, swords, and I forget it. Wisdom, love, swords, and shields, right? Shields. And then you can see the major arcana have different names. So this is all coming from the teachings of the Cathar tradition. Yeah, so I'm reading these as, you know, from Rider-Waite typically, and then I'll read the imagery in the way that you would read oracles. And then as I go and as I play with them, I'm learning more and more about the significance of each one. I have to say that I am not, it's not a guarantee what I'm going to remember. So I never know what I know until I'm reading, and then I find out. So let's just move through. You can see, like, they're gorgeous. And on camera, they're even more gorgeous, actually. I've actually never pulled this death card, which is funny. I've pulled this quite a bit. I find that the scenes are very dramatic, which is really, I love. I love melodrama, particularly medieval melodrama. So if you are interested, this is what they look like. And again, I love things where there's like a lot of potential to learn more. The world of light. Love that. The love feast. Yeah. I like things that are a world unto themselves, so that you can kind of dip into them more superficially or just from what you know of other decks. And then as you journey with them and as you grow with them, they grow as well. I think what I'm going to do next, I'm sort of doing this. We'll do Murder of Crows Tarot next. Okay. So this is actually a limited edition deck. It's brand new. It has a copy number in it. So this is one that I'm not going to let children play with, I guess you'd say. But it's absolutely beautiful. The imagery is fantastic. Like I said, this deck is very new to me. It was sort of a Christmas present to myself. But I have thoroughly enjoyed pulling cards for myself each day and discovering this is such an interesting tower because it's not falling. Anyway, it's not falling. So yeah, I've enjoyed the experience of, there's a snowplow going by, so if you hear that, my apologies. It's Canada in the winter. There's lots of snow outside, although I had to take off my sweater because I'm boiling in here, which I don't understand fully. Look at that. So the limited edition has the addition of the red color in it. The standard deck, I understand, is smaller, I think, and does not have the red. And I think it comes in a different box. Like this is a magnetized box. And I believe it just came out, I want to say in the autumn or maybe in the summer of this year. And there are two cards like this, the Crow of Dusk and the Crow of Dawn. And then there is we'll find it, let's see, the other one here, the Crow Mother and the Crow Father. So those are some interesting, I haven't quite figured out what they are for me yet. This is very clearly the Hierophant. And the Devil, wow, that's a very graphic Devil card. But yeah, this is, it's definitely conducive to a shadow reading. I think, you know, every deck is different, like how you connect with it, I think for each person. For me, this is something where I'm going to pull this when I am looking at my own shadows, you know, when I'm looking for guidance with winter, through the winter season, through more crone-like energies or more difficult things, anything that you would turn to crow for, or raven, that sort of Mars energy as well. So if it has to do with like passion, or I'm hearing commitments, passion or commitments, those are the kinds of things that really come through here. So that is the Murder of Crows Tarot. And there's been some other, this Corrado Roy. There's been some other decks that have intrigued me, but I didn't feel like I would connect with them. I was actually surprised that I connected with this deck. I was kind of afraid I wouldn't. Because there's some that, you know, we can like it, but they end up being not so great. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the Jane Austen Tarot deck, and I'm going to preface this with saying I was extremely excited. Look how beautiful this box is. Look at how beautiful this guidebook is. I was very excited for this deck. I was extremely excited for this deck. I have read all of Jane Austen's work. I have an English degree, and I have taken like a university class specifically about Jane Austen. I also read tarot, and I also love Lenormand. So it is supposed to be a combination of all three of those things, and there are some issues for me with this deck. I wonder about the choices that were made. You can see here, like the Ace of Clubs is the Strength card. The Emperor and the King of Spades. So one of the things is that there are no, I believe this is, I always forget his name, from Emma. Okay. maybe it'll come to me. But that's the thing. There's no names written on it. I have half a mind to write the names on, because these are figures from books, right? Not from movies, from books. So how am I supposed to know who this person is? This is Colonel Brandon. This is Emma with, nope, this is Willoughby with Mary Ann. Willoughby from Sense and Sensibility. The King of Diamonds, again, no idea. I do believe the King of Diamonds should be Mr. Darcy. So as you can tell, I have some opinions about things. This is, what's her name? From Northanger Abbey. The main person from Northanger Abbey. Again, it would be really nice to have names written on there so you can relate to it. This is from Persuasion, I believe, and that is Captain, what's his face? Sweet. Not sure who that is. This is, if I remember correctly, the one that gets the piano in Emma, Jane Fairfax. So she's the star and the Jack of Diamonds, which I find it to be a really interesting choice. I think the cards are beautiful. I can definitely read them. This is Jane Austen herself, the Magician and the King of Clubs. But I think that I had really held out a lot of hope for this deck, or was really excited for it. So, oh, here we go. Wickham, George Wickham from Pride and Prejudice is the devil, which is arguably appropriate. So we have the King of Hearts as, this is Mr. Darcy. Again, King of Hearts, The Wheel of Fortune is also the 10 of Hearts. Interesting choice. The Empress is the Queen of Clubs, and I feel like the Empress for me is more of an earth energy, so I would put her like as a Queen of Diamonds, and I would make that, who is this? This might be Emma, I'm not sure. Again, as you can see, the fault. So like, I thought, I know these books so well. This is Jane, and oh gosh, the guy who has a big fortune, Darcy's friend. They are not the lovers for me. They're like sweet and innocent, and maybe a 6 of Cups for sure, a 6 of, oh, there it is, 6 of Hearts. But as the lovers, not so much. I just don't feel like they have a lot of heat in their relationship. They're really sweet. And then some of the cards that you can see have quotes. It is well to have as many holds upon happiness as possible. High Priestess is, again, I really feel like Elizabeth Bennet is more of an Empress than a High Priestess, but I would switch Emma and Elizabeth, I think, in this deck. We all have our best guides within us, if only we would listen. Yeah, that's Emma. I don't know who that is. This is Marianne Dashwood, and I only know this because I've looked it up so many times. No idea. There's Emma. No clue. Nope. Oh, this is also highly inaccurate in the book. It talks about Frank Churchill, and the way that they talk about Frank Churchill is like not him at all, or not accurate to the storyline. He was really deceptive and manipulative. Like, he was more of a Wickham character. The patterns are really beautiful. You pierce my soul. I am half agony, half hope. So I'm not really sure what they were doing with this deck. I mean, I can still read it. The Hermit as Emma's father is a good choice. I'll give him that. And the World as, that's a good choice too. So that's the Jane Austen tarot deck. If you are a Jane Austen fan, I don't know. How do you feel? Tell me down below about the choices that were made here, because I was really excited also because the person is from close to where I live, so I was supporting something local. And as you can hear from my voice, I've got issues with that deck. So we're looking at the Lover's Path Tarot, and I'm just going to show you. It comes with this spreadsheet that has different readings. So this could be fun. I feel like this is the kind of deck that like anyone could have in their collection and be really happy with, and you just kind of pull it out for fun if you're not like big into reading, and you can do one of these spreads with your friends, maybe over a glass of wine, or don't drink in tarot. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Tell me down below. Drinking in tarot, bad mix. I think if you are a professional reader, don't drink in tarot, that's for sure. Okay, so we are looking at the Lover's Path Tarot, and each of the major arcana cards has a pairing. So this is Isis and Osiris for love. These cards are really beautiful. I love, again, Merlin and Vivian. So you can look at, Vivian was the Lady of the Lake. So you can take a look at the mythology behind each of these pairings. There's a little bit in the guidebook about that, but you can always deepen your own understanding. And the King of Cups, Orpheus and Eurydice. So the court cards are named after mythological figures, and the major arcana are as well. And it's just really beautiful imagery, like even without the mythology. Look at the colors. I just love it so much. I find them very comforting. They're comforting to hold. They've got a cozy energy. This is the Hierophant, but Romeo and Juliet, which is an interesting choice to unpack. Dante and Beatrice. I really love the coins in this deck. So they have coins, staves, cups, and swords. Sorry, arrows. Yeah, and so there's some myths that I don't know about that I've enjoyed looking into because of this. Look at this Ace of Cups. Like, I love the cards that don't have people on them as much as I love the cards that have people on them. And sometimes that's hard, you know? Tristan and Souls. So let's just start moving through them a little bit faster so you can get a feel for, I know a bunch of them are upside down. I really love this deck. It's not an expensive deck, and it is so beautiful. I get to use it for like Ace of Coins. I love the coins in this deck. I feel like it is a very earthy deck, even though it's a love deck and you would think it would be watery. I feel that it is more earthy, which is my thing. I love it. That's even the way that I show love is in earthy ways. So, yeah. Venus and Vulcan, Adonis. I love when things have mythological crossover, or like with the Jane Austen, you know, I felt like I know those stories so well. So if I pull a card about Emma, for instance, I'm going to know so much about what that means that I can convey that to my clients, because I'm doing, you know, readings for other people, or even for myself. That would be helpful. But if you don't know who they're depicting because they're characters from a book, that gets hard. So that is what I have for you for tarot this time around, part 2. Next, we are going to take a look at, I think I did this wrong. Next, we're going to take a look at oracle cards, and I don't know how many videos I'm going to need for that, but we're going to do it. And if you have any requests or anything you're interested in or any questions, please leave them down below. Please give this channel a subscribe and like the video. It really helps out to grow the channel, and we'll see you soon.